Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video today. The clip in the background you're watching is of Reddit user OW_JB, who has found an exploit on the PTR where you can use Hanzo's roll ability to get all the way to the point in under 10 seconds. Now this is an exploit, I would assume, due to the fix that Blizzard put out yesterday, trying to prevent people from accidentally using this ability. I'm sure this will be fixed very soon, and it's on the PTR, so you can try and have some fun with it. I don't think it's specifically easy to do or super helpful, but it's kind of cool when some of these bugs happen. So speaking of changes, Blizzard are going nuts not only on the PTR, but also with some reworks coming in the future. So today I want to talk about them. The first thing is that yesterday Lucio did get changed back a little bit on his current PTR patch, but not completely reverted to where he is on live, and I wanted to clear this up for you guys. One thing that has been changed back is that he gets his full 2.5 meters a second lunge now when he jumps off of a wall, but they are keeping an eye on it so it doesn't get out of control. And they did also add an option so that people could control how much time is required to hold jump before you would wall ride around corners. They may add it back in the future, but they're just setting this to 0.3 seconds for everyone now. This was not intended to go out as an option, but they may do it in the future, and these are the only real changes that Lucio have had here. He still can stick to walls like crazy on the PTR version. This has not changed. There's a lot of people reporting that he can't do that anymore. He still can, so he's still pretty crazy. Also, Genji's Deflect hitbox has actually been moved back vertically, because there's been a lot of occasions where Genji could double jump but still get headshot when deflecting, and this isn't supposed to happen. That's part of the reason why Genji's Deflect hitbox was so big in the first place, was to compensate for things like this. So horizontally it's still smaller, but vertically it's back to where he was. So just a minor buff slash quality of life thing. And then finally, of course, we have the Hanzo lunge ability has been fixed so it won't consume the cooldown when it's not supposed to, but of course that's created some problems behind the scenes. Moving on, there has been a very interesting interview with Jeff Goodman and Michael Chu a little bit, although Jeff seems to be taking most of the answers here, especially with the balance questions of Overwatch. And there's been some really cool stuff to go through, but I think what we all want to hear is what's going on with Symmetra and Torbjorn. PC Games N asked Jeff Goodman, is there a chance that existing characters will be reworked to keep them viable or allow them to cover multiple roles in game? Jeff said, we're looking at reworking Symmetra in the short term and then Torbjorn down the line a bit. It's not an explicit goal to be constantly reworking older heroes to keep up with the current game, but sometimes when we look at these heroes, we can see that they would fit much better into the current game with more significant gameplay changes rather than just balancing tweaks. For example, Symmetra is our only non-healing support. She feels difficult to fit onto a team of 6, especially when you're typically building around a 2-2-2 team, although that's not explicitly true. I don't have a ton of details of what we're doing with her yet, as we're still iterating on her heavily internally, but we started looking at her with the base idea that she should either be able to heal and stay in the support role, or be given more damage viability and move to the defense role. I have a lot to say about this, guys. We read into this a lot when it was first mentioned, and I think some people thought maybe she was just being moved and that was it. But what Jeff's saying is Symmetra might become an actual DPS or a real support. Now, support is kind of subjective. It can mean a lot of different things. Support isn't necessarily healing, especially when you look at other similar MOBA type games. But if Symmetra all of a sudden was a healer, that would be crazy. They could make her turrets heal, but with the fact that they're talking about reworking Symmetra and Torbjorn in one go, I have in the back of my mind this thought that maybe they won't be builders anymore. Maybe they're thinking the builders don't really fit into this game. They've always been difficult to squeeze into comps, and I think there is a percentage chance that they just rework these entirely from being builders. Now, you can let me know what you think to that in the comments, of course. Any other ideas that you had about both of these heroes and how you would like to see them rework would be cool. And because of what both these characters do in the lore of Overwatch as well, it's quite easy to see how they would recreate different weapons just to be completely different in the game. So Symmetra uses Hardlight to create stuff. Well, then why wouldn't she have a laser gun, for example? And why couldn't Torbjorn also create some other kind of weapon that he could use in game? There's actually a lot of different directions that this could go in, but the fact that we know that Symmetra could actually be a healer is big news, because it's something people have been asking for a long time. But now the fact that we do also have a lot of supports in the game, I could see them going the DPS route either, and it seems so far like they haven't decided. But let me know what one you would like to see the most. And the same with Torbjorn. He'll be probably a month or two away, and it's going to be interesting when we see what they do with him. Jeff Goodman was also asked, are you worried about the potential impact of Brigitte, Torb and Sym stacking DPS players with armor, particularly Tracer, both in low level and competitive play? Jeff says, somewhat. We've tried to run this internally a few times and it hasn't been too successful. That said, if it turns out to be a big problem, there are many ways we can address it, such as changing how armor and shield stack. It'll be exciting to see what team compositions people come up with. Now, I have quite a lot to say about this, because we've spoke in depth so much about Brigitte and how we think she's going to work. And although some of these strategies have worked in the past in lower levels, they never do in the higher ones. And when it comes to armor in particular, armor is really hard for characters like Tracer that have lots of different bullets to actually burst through. So when you talk about stacking armor on characters, Tracer isn't actually a character you're worried about. A character like Junkrat that has massive bursts of chunk damage that can just spam constantly and 2 mines is what you want to be scared of. If that has 400 HP spamming into a choke, that is so much damage output. And also Junkrat is good at destroying that armor as well. Tracer, on the other hand, not so much. She can be scary with a lot of HP, but she doesn't burst through that armor very well. So my concern actually wouldn't be Tracer in that situation, but other characters like Junkrat or maybe Widow even, that just deal massive bursts of damage, because Tracer really struggles to get through that armor, and heroes like Soldier 76 can do as well. Finally, Jeff Goodman was asked what led the decision to build Brigitte as a counter dive hero. Jeff replied, many of the strongest compositions include fast moving, high damage heroes such as Tracer and Genji. These types of compositions tend to focus on rushing the enemy's support heroes in an effect to take them out quickly. So it certainly became a goal to have Brigitte be more capable of defending herself and her allies in these types of situations. With her ability to stun fast enemies with the shield bash, protect herself with her barrier shield, and quickly save allies with her repair pack, she should prove to be helpful against these compositions. He does also go on to say though that Brigitte is designed in a way that she's not useful on every map. So Attack King's Row, for example, Reinhardt's really good. In fact, just the whole map in general, he's amazing at. Whereas in terms of meta, he's pretty weak. So what they've tried to do with Brigitte is design her to counter dive comp, but in some situations, the dive comp will just take the high ground away from the Brigitte and she'll become really, really weak. So what they're trying to do with this character is, yes, counter Tracer and Genji and some of the dive stuff, but not on every single map. And if you read through this entire post, that's what it's actually all about, is trying to bring a bit more balance to the game dependent on the maps that you play. And that also goes on what heroes you pick on their maps, whether they're strong on them because of the geometry that that map enforces on you. So guys, let us know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you want to see Symmetra and Torb reworked into, and what do you think to the Genji hitbox change? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on any of the stuff we discussed today. I'm personally really excited for all of these changes, guys. I can't wait to see what they do with the builders. And also don't forget that Season 10 is going to be starting on April the 30th. So again, there'll only be a couple of days of downtime, and then we'll be able to do our placement matches and get placed exactly where we finished last season anyway. Be sure to drop a like, as it really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content, and you're going to want to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Be sure to have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.